channel. My name is Carolyn. Today I am going to do my reading wrap up for July. I didn't have as great a month as I did in June.
But, you know, I read some, so it's better than nothing at all. I read 2 novels, 1 short story and 1 audiobook.
So the first book I read was The Girl in 6E by A.R. Torr. This is the first book in the Deanna Madden series. It's an erotic thriller, or that's how it has been marketed, and it was pretty good. It didn't rock my socks off, but it was a good read and I enjoyed it. This is a story about a young woman called Deanna Madden who locks herself in her apartment because she has homicidal tendencies and has done for 3 years. She pays her bills by being a sex cam girl under the name of Jessica Riley. There is a thriller aspect. When a young girl is taken, Deanna thinks it could be one of her clients. So she decides, as you do, to go out and find the girl, and also she is quite excited at the fact that maybe she could indulge in her sort of killer thoughts and fantasies. I like the fact that Deanna was a woman with homicidal thoughts rather than a man. You don't often see that, or from the books I've read anyway. And I liked that aspect of it. And for the first half of the book, I thought that her thoughts and feelings about her interests was quite intriguing. But after a while, I did feel that there wasn't any proof. She kept saying about how she wanted to use the knife and kill them and gut them and have the blood and got sexually aroused by it all, but there was no actual proof that she could act out what she was thinking. And because we weren't shown anything about that side of her personality, of her nature, these interjections became sort of void of any real impact. As I read further on in the book, I realised that her thoughts about being a psychopath, a killer, may have a lot more to do with the death of her entire family. The only other interactions that Deanna has are with her clients via her webcam. She has 2 therapists that she talks to every week on the phone. She has a guy that she supplies drugs to in exchange for him locking her in her apartment so she can't get out during night. I find this a little bit strange in the book because if you're a killer, if you've got those instincts, I don't think it often really matters whether it's night or day. If you want to kill, you will kill. So I felt that was a bit strange, that her door was open and she could go in and out if she wanted to, but she managed to really restrain herself during all the daylight hours to not go out until she was locked in at night and couldn't get out. And I felt that was a little bit unrealistic and a little bit unbelievable because, you know, if you did have those sort of tendencies, I think that mentally I'm not sure that you would have the strength to refrain from going outside your front door if you wanted to kill people. Not that I would know, I'm not a psychopath, but it just didn't ring true to me. The only other person she seems to have interactions with on a daily basis is her delivery guy, Jeremy. Jeremy comes to her door with deliveries and she would just say, "Leave it, thank you," and then he would leave. She would then nip out of her door, grab her packages, and that would be it. So in all the 3 years, this is as much interaction as Deanna and Jeremy have had. So I can understand Jeremy's curiosity of this strange woman who doesn't come out of her apartment, but when they do finally meet face to face, the reaction of both of them is just a bit weird. Things happen too quickly, feelings and emotions happen too quickly, and there are a couple of things that Jeremy did to Deanna that I didn't really understand, and they weren't explained properly or fully, and I just thought that there was a section that was just all a little bit strange. There were some revelations as well regarding the death of Deanna's entire family, her mother, her father and her 2 siblings, and this was interesting, although I did see it coming. I don't know why, I just did. I knew what it was leading up to, and there were some medical things about her mother's death that really didn't ring true. I had a bit of difficulty believing this part of the book regarding the medical side of it. I just thought that wouldn't happen with today's forensic science. And despite my misgivings, I did enjoy this book. I will definitely read the second book in the series, Do Not Disturb. Deanna Madden is an interesting character, so I'm really interested to see how the author develops her. I'd seen this series marketed somewhere as a combination of Dexter and 50 Shades of Grey, and I will say that that is why I picked this book up, because I thought, what an intriguing combination. But with the next instalment, I'm hoping for a lot more murder and a lot more sex, because this didn't really give me either. But I did enjoy it, and I gave it 3.5 stars. The next book I read was Own the Wind by Kristin Ashley. This is the first book in the Chaos series. It's a motorcycle club contemporary romance series, and because I had binge watched the entire 7 seasons of Sons of Anarchy, which I loved, I mean Jax, I really wanted to fill that void, so I thought I'll try and fill it with MC romance. It didn't really hit the mark. It wasn't quite like Sons of Anarchy, I must say, but it was a good read. I gave it 3.5 out of 5 stars. The first half of this novel was really good, and the second half wasn't so good. I think if the second half matched the first half, it would have been a really good solid 4 stars. The story's about Tabitha Allen, who is the daughter of the president of the Chaos Motorcycle Club. She has been pretty much in love with Shy Cage, one of the motorcycle club members, for a while, but one night he decides to tell us some home truths about the way she was acting. I think she was around 16 at the time, and the way her life was heading, and he said some harsh things to her which she didn't like, and so she didn't really talk to him for quite a while. In that time she fell in love with another guy, and tragedy struck, and that's when Shy and Tabitha's story begins. Also, I felt Shy, the hero, who's meant to be this really badass biker dude, was perfect. He said the right things, did the right things, acted the right way, he was helpful, he was kind, all the things that you do love in a hero, but he was meant to be badass. That's why I wanted to read these books. It's a motorcycle club romance, come on now. I wanted to see a bad side of him, and there was only one bit in this story that I thought, okay, yeah, he beat someone up. I don't condone going around beating people up, I really don't, but there was a story behind that, and I could understand his motivation, but I couldn't condone it. And I really wanted him, as with all my heroes, I wanted him to have flaws that he really has to overcome and redeem himself, and I just felt for a biker he was just too goody two-shoes. I felt that a heroine, Tabitha, was a little bit immature. There were some times that she behaved so naively regarding what the MC did that I thought, you wouldn't be that naive. You know, you've been in it since you were a baby. You are the daughter of the president of the club. I don't think she would have been as naive and as innocent regarding their activities as she made out to be. I can imagine you might not like it, even if you grow up with that all around you, doesn't mean that you would be completely immune to it, but her naivety towards it, and to be shocked all the time, I just thought was a little bit unbelievable. However, even with all of my negative points about this story, it still has a cute romance. I gave it 3.5 stars. It's not a bad book, it was just not a great book. There were niggles, but I would still recommend that you give it a go. I'm looking forward to cracking on with the next book. The next book I read was just a short story. It was The Yellow Wallpaper by Charlotte Perkins Gilman, and I really enjoyed this. I gave it 4 stars. It's about this woman who has mental illness, she's depressed, and her husband, who's a doctor, has moved them both to a house for 3 months where she can rest. And the doctor, her husband, feels that rest is the best way to treat depression and her mental illness. You find that she becomes incredibly isolated from friends and family. She is on her own most of the time. Although she's not physically locked into her room, doors aren't locked, she could go out anywhere she wants to, but because she has mental illness, this inhibits her. So she finds herself trapped in the house, and then more and more in a particular room in the house. As the story starts, she knows that she's depressed, she knows that being isolated is probably not the best thing for her, but because she only has her husband to talk to, and he's a doctor, he doesn't really listen to her, he doesn't listen to her thoughts, her feelings. He tells her that he knows best because he's a doctor, so she begins to believe him and sink it further and further into depression. And although her husband doesn't mean to do this to her, he does make it worse. He was controlling, oppressive, he didn't listen to her, and I don't think he means to do that. He thought he knew best because he was the doctor. At the start of the book, she talks about the yellow wallpaper in this particular room, and it's just sort of passing comments. But as the short story moves forward, it becomes even more detailed, to the point that it's almost the entire narrative is about this yellow wallpaper. And the things that the narrator talks about and the way she views it, it's very interesting, really thought-provoking, and I would definitely recommend that you give it a read. The audiobook I read this month was Jet by J. Crownover. It's the second book in the Marked Men series. It's a new adult contemporary romance, and I like this a lot more than I did the first book in the series, Rule. I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. It focuses on Jet, who's a bit of a rock star, and Aidan, who comes across at first as a good girl, but she does have a past. Jet has a lot of family problems, especially with his father, and I really like that aspect to his life. As the same with Aidan, she comes across as being, as I said, a bit of a good girl. She does really well at college, and yet she has a dark past and really tries her best to keep it hidden from the life that she has now and all her friends. None of them know about her past. But as things move forward, things about both of them start coming to the forefront, and they have to deal with it and try and deal with it together, which they don't do very well, and so obviously there's lots of ups and downs throughout their relationship. But I really like this book. I like the chemistry between them, the sexual chemistry, the build-up, and I just thought it was a really good instalment, so I definitely recommend it. So that's it. They're all the books I read during July. As I say, not as many, which I was a bit disappointed with, but you can't win them all, so hopefully August will be a better month. But thank you for watching. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up as usual, and subscribe, and I will see you in my next video. Thanks a lot, guys. Bye.